Hey everyone, Qleth here. After playing in 2 pre-release events for Adventures in Forgotten Realms, I came up with a new commander deck idea. Today's new deck is all about venturing into the dungeon. This deck's commander is none other than Barrowin of Clan Unduur. Barrowin is a 3/3 legendary dwarf cleric and costs 2, a white and a black. His abilities read when Barrowin of Clan Unduur enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. And whenever Barrowin of Clan Unduur attacks, return up to 1 creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield if you've completed a dungeon. Next, let's go over all the cards that make this deck possible. First up, we have Dungeon Descent. Dungeon Descent is a land that enters the battlefield tapped. Dungeon Descent reads to tap to add 1 colorless mana, or pay 4 colors and tap it, as well as tap an untapped legendary creature you control to venture into the dungeon and activate only as a sorcery. Next is Yuan-Ti Fangblade. Yuan-Ti Fangblade is a 2/2 snake rogue that costs 2 and a black and has death touch. His ability reads whenever Yuan-Ti Fangblade deals combat damage to a player, venture into the dungeon. Also, we have Azurarak the Archlich. Azurarak the Archlich is a 5/5 legendary zombie wizard that costs 2 and a black. His ability reads when Azurarak the Archlich enters the battlefield, if you've completed Tomb of Annihilation, return. If you haven't completed Tomb of Annihilation, return Azurarak the Archlich to its owner's hand and venture into the dungeon. Whenever Azurarak the Archlich attacks for each opponent, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token, unless after sacrifice a creature. Ranger's Hawk is next on the list. Ranger's Hawk is a 1/1 bird and costs 1 white, and it has fun. Its ability reads pay 3 colors, tap it, and another untapped creature you control, venture into the dungeon. Activate only as a sorcery. That brings us to Triumphant Adventurer. Triumphant Adventurer is a 1/1 human knight and costs a white and a black. It has death touch. Its ability reads as long as it's your turn, Triumphant Adventurer has first strike. And it also has whenever Triumphant Adventurer attacks, venture into the dungeon. Planner Ally is a 3/3 angel with flying, and its ability reads whenever Planner Ally attacks, venture into the dungeon. Radiant Solar is a 3/6 angel with flying and lifelink, and its abilities read whenever Radiant Solar or another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, venture into the dungeon. And it also has pay a white and discard Radiant Solar, venture into the dungeon and gain 3 life. Next is Nadar Selfless Paladin. Nadar Selfless Paladin is a 3/3 legendary dragon knight. Legendary Dragon Knight costs 2 and a white and has vigilance. Its ability reads whenever Nadar Selfless Paladin enters the battlefield or attacks, venture into the dungeon. And other creatures you control get +1/+1 as long as you've completed a dungeon. Cloister Gargoyle is a 0/4 artifact creature gargoyle, and its abilities read when Cloister Gargoyle enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. And as long as you've completed a dungeon, Venture Gargoyle gets +3/+0 and has flying. Next we have Veteran Dungeoneer, who is a 3/4 human warrior that costs 3 colorless and a white. Its ability reads whenever Veteran Dungeoneer enters the battlefield, venture into the dungeon. Last on the venturing creature list is Clattering Skeletons. Clattering Skeletons is a 4/3 skeleton and costs 3 and a black. Clattering Skeletons reads when Clattering Skeleton dies, return it to. Clattering Skeleton reads when Clattering Skeleton dies, venture into the dungeon. Next we have Dungeon Map. Dungeon Map is an artifact. It costs 3 colorless. It taps to add 1 colorless, or you can pay 3, tap it, and venture into the dungeon. Activate only as a sorcery. allow us to get multiple uses out of our adventures. First up is Strionic Resonator. Strionic Resonator is an artifact that costs 2 to play, and it reads, pay 2, tap it to copy target triggered abilities, so we can double up on our adventure triggers with that. Next is Teleportation Circle. Teleportation Circle is an enchantment and costs 3 and a white. It reads, at the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target artifact or creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. Alright, in a similar vein is Conjurer's Closet. Conjurer's Closet is an artifact and costs 5 colorless. It reads, at the beginning of your end step, you may exile target creature you control and then return that card to the battlefield under your control. Next are a couple of instant spells that will not only save a creature from removal in a pinch, but also can get you some extra adventure triggers. First is Cloud Shift. It's an instant, costs a single white, and it reads, exile target creature you control and then return that card to the battlefield under your control. The next one is Ephemerate, which is also an instant, costs a single white. It also reads similarly, exile target creature you control, then return that card creature to the battlefield under its owner's control. This one also has rebound, so it's going to cast again at your upkeep step. Okay. Sudden Disappearance is a different blink effect. It says Sudden Disappearance is a sorcery, it costs 5 and a white. It reads, exile all non-permanents target player controls. Return the exile cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Restoration Angel is a 3/4 angel and costs 3 and a white, and has flash and flying. It reads, when Restoration Angel enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-angel creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. Next is the cycle creatures that all return another creature to their owner's hand when they enter the battlefield. First up is White Mane Lion. White Mane Lion is a 2/2 cat. It costs 1 and a white and has flash. It reads, when White Mane Lion enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. Next is Stonecloaker. Stonecloaker is a 3/2 gargoyle with flash and has flying, and costs 2 and a white. It reads, when Stonecloaker enters the battlefield, return a creature you control to its owner's hand. It also has a secondary ability that says, when Stonecloaker enters the battlefield, exile target card from a graveyard. Dust Elemental is an all-star. It can save some of your creatures from a board wipe in a pinch. A Dust Elemental is a 6/6 elemental and costs 2, a white, and a white. It has flash and fear. It reads, when Dust Elemental enters the battlefield, return 3 creatures you control to their owner's hands. Next is Core Skyfisher. Core Skyfisher is a 2/3 core soldier with flying and costs a white and a colorless. It reads, when Core Skyfisher enters the battlefield, return a permanent you control to its owner's hand. Stormfront Riders is a 4/3 human soldier that costs 4 and a white and has flying. When Stormfront Riders enters the battlefield, return 2 creatures you control to their owner's hand. And whenever Stormfront Riders or another creature is returned to your hand from the battlefield, put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield. And since we're going to be constantly having creatures leave the battlefield, I thought I would include Call of Unity. Call of Unity is an enchantment. It's also an Anthem effect style enchantment. It costs 3 and 2 white. It reads, Revolt. At the beginning of your next end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a Unity counter on Call for Unity. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on Call for Unity. Alright, so let's get down to it. Our dungeon of choice for this deck is Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Dungeon of the Mad Mage is the best dungeon for anyone who wants to do some serious dungeoneering. Our goal is to get to the last room of Dungeon of the Mad Mage as fast and as many times as possible in order to play as many free bombs as we can. We're going to be playing bombs like Ashen Rider, Overseer of the Damned, and even Avacyn, Angel of Hope. Now as always, I'm not going to go over my entire deck list with you. I will go ahead and post that deck list in the comments of this video. But I do like to, I prefer to let my viewers choose and pick and choose the cards they want to include in their deck, because, you know, let's face it, if everybody built the same deck, Magic the Gathering would be incredibly boring. So now I did pilot this deck last night at my local LGS. I had some serious fun with it. It was a major blast. First thing to note is the deck is not 100% competitive. It definitely is not going to compete against, you know, anything that's going to win on turn 3, 4, 5, etc. However, I was able to throw out a turn 5 Avacyn thanks to some extra venture triggers with the decks and some mana wrap with Soul Ring and whatnot. So it can be pretty strong. I would probably rate it around 5 or 6, maybe even a 7 if it was up against the right deck. Now I do want to let you know, when I was playing, I did not run into a lot of people running interaction, so those results might be skewed against people playing with a heavy amount of interaction. So, you know, ultimately this deck, I wanted to build it because I wanted to play a deck that didn't discourage other players from playing against it, because, you know, let's face it, playing infinite combos and whatnot is discouraging for players who, first of all, are new and starting out, or maybe just don't like playing infinite combos, or, you know, even I built this, it doesn't include any kind of counterspell or anything like that, so that's also less discouraging. Ultimately, I feel like this deck could be fun for newcomers as well as veterans alike. It's incredibly fun. Dungeon mechanic is super fun. You get some variety. You can always switch dungeons from dungeon to dungeon, maybe just do either of the other two. But I personally prefer dungeon.